Hello and welcome to another edition of Health Matters. I'm Anna Marie Sinatra from Sinatra Solutions, your coach, trainer, consultant, all-around girl to help you in your time of need. And yes, this is still a crossover show with Ava San Marco, who couldn't be here with us today, but nonetheless, I am still very excited about the program that I have for you today. So make sure you have those pens and papers ready because you are going to want to write down this information. But before we get started, you know I always like to thank our sponsors who have been with us for so long, who helped to underwrite this program to make sure that you get the information of all the great things that are happening in our community. And first, we just want to take a moment to thank Matthew Sauer, Matty Mattress from Mattress and More, where he's educating us on all the information about mattresses, which, as you know, if you've been watching some of the shows, it's quite extensive. So we also want to thank Dr. Frank Mascaro from Western New York Imaging Group that have imaging, diagnostic equipment, again, in your time of need, throughout all of Western New York. They're in Lockport MRI, Kenton MRI, which has the open MRI, in case you're just a little claustrophobic, and so many places. Once again, visit people on their websites to learn more information. And Wings Flights of Hope, Joe DeMarco, where he's flying medical patients all over the world in their time of need. Maybe not all over the world. I think maybe I might have stretched that just a little bit. But in many, many states and countries where he's flying them if someone needs a transplant or a medical treatment, they provide free flights. So make sure you take that information down too. And I am really excited because we've got an amazing event coming up this weekend, the weekend of September 20th, 21st, and 22nd, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's a Psychic Expressions Fair. And let me tell you, as I sometimes do in some of our programs, that sometimes the information is a little controversial, or actually I should say that you think that it is, only because it's outside of the realm of what you already know. But remember what your coach says: if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. So I'm inviting you today to reserve your judgment. You know that judgment, that little voice that goes on in the back of our mind and wants to judge everything that we do and say? So let's just put that aside for just a moment and think about some possibilities and see what might sound interesting to you. So the Psychic Expressions Fair is coming up, as I said, September 20th, 21st, and 22nd. You just saw the poster at the Holiday Inn in Niagara Falls Boulevard, and sitting next to me, I have the organizer of the event, Carol Ruth. Welcome, Carol.
Thank you.
It's so nice to have you here with me today.
Well, it's nice to be here.
Thank you.
I'm enjoying your repertoire here. Introduction, very nice.
We have some wonderful sponsors that help with this
Yes.
program, and you guys came today, so you're one of our lovely sponsors. And before we get to these other wonderful, amazing women, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you get started and what it is that you do.
Well, when I was around 22, I started studying various areas of psychic and found out in my chart, astrological chart, that I was a person who didn't focus very well. So I decided to do one thing well. So I started astrology. Yeah, just from knowing my chart, I knew what to study and how good I had to know it. And I did that for many years. What started me was a lot of challenges in my life with my husband, and he wound up being killed. Ooh. And yeah, I was a 26-year-old widow, and grieving is something that we deal with some of the people that come to us. And just understanding who you are. How many times do you ask yourself, who am I and what am I doing here? I think astrology, or even just getting a tarot reading, will give you a little bit of information that will, set you on a better path.
It's a nice tool, and for people who might already know about astrology, we're not talking about, some people might think, oh, that's New Age stuff. This stuff dates back long time ago.
Before Christ, yeah.
Absolutely.
Chaldeans and probably the ancient aliens.
Another topic we'll get into at some point. And the tarot cards are another
They are a tool, and they're kind of like the poor man's Bible when people weren't allowed to have Bibles. And they have a lot of biblical connotations to them if you really get into the meanings of them. However, most of us that read tarot cards, we do it very intuitively. We know the meanings of the cards, but then when we're working with the cards, we're also using our intuition, and the person has to shuffle the cards and get their vibration on them, and they put them in order. We don't do that. They shuffle and put them in order, and it's amazing how it comes out that it fits what's in their life.
I've done that before, and I think afterwards we're going to go back into the green room so I can shuffle a few cards and see what's coming up for me.
Sure.
I always enjoy
Not
that.
a problem.
And the woman sitting next to you, Theressa. Welcome, Theressa.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
And tell me a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
Well, I have been aware of having the ability since I was about 6 years old, and as I grew into a teenager, people were always drawn to me, and we've always had an insightful conversation. So as I grew into a young woman, I started losing both friends and family at a very early age, and I was always able to make contact with them over on the other side. So as I got a little bit older, I decided that as a psychic medium, I could help people with the grief process, I could help people to heal, and it just kind of comes naturally to me that I can do psychic readings and help people a little bit farther along on their path.
That is so beautiful. That is just so beautiful. And I want to say, too, just for our viewers today, is that I don't want to say suffered. I almost said I suffered. I have experienced a lot of loss. My parents both died at 60, different points, 91 and 97, and grandparents and aunts and uncles. So there's been a lot of people who've made their transition. See, we have to watch those words
Absolutely.
we're using,
Yes.
right? Because they're not
Transition.
lost. They're not lost. They just made their transition.
Absolutely.
And I can't tell you how I feel their presence in my life all the time, especially when I pray and I meditate and I need some help and I need some guidance. We can really tap into that. So I'm going to look forward to hearing a little bit more about how you assist in that, too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And on the two ends here, we've got I call us our bookends, and I'm always so excited when I have another coach in the house. We have Brenda, who is a life coach. Welcome, Brenda.
Thank you. I'm actually a transformational life coach, and what got me into coaching is I've been doing this pretty much my entire life. I grew up in a very challenging household, and in that environment you learn to cope different ways. So growing up in that environment, I knew that wasn't it. That wasn't the end of all ends. That wasn't the means to the end. So I've always identified with other people and would always try to make them smile in some way, shape, or form and bring them out of their situation without even realizing it. And then as I got older, I knew that this is what I needed to do. That, you know, where you're at is not where you need to be.
Oh, I love that. Is that your tagline?
That-
where you're at is not where you need to be. I
Maybe
love
it
that.
should be.
That's beautiful. That's just beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you'll all be at the Psychic Expressions Fair, along with many other people. Before we even dive into a little bit more, because I want to hear a little bit more about you guys too, but let's get the information out there. Tell me about what the fair looks like, what kind of people are going to be there, what's going to be going on. I'm excited. I'm going to get to mark that down on
Some
my calendar.
exceptional people will be there. We're going to have the grand ballroom there totally opened up, so it's going to be big enough for, well, there'll be about 30 of us doing something.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. And then local celebrities will be coming, authors, book signings, lectures. They'll be giving lectures, and we've got about 4 of those a day coming. So it's a pretty good thing to come for and get a lot of different types of information, paranormal investigation, messaging. There's a motivational speaker, someone who works with music, you know, for meditation purposes, and we have a couple of people that have DVDs of speeches that we're or lectures that were done in the 50s and 60s. Very, very interesting group of people.
Wow. It's always fun. I love going to, whether it's a holistic fair or a psychic fair, all the wonderful, amazing things that Western New York has.
Well, you know, Anna Marie, we really do go together with holistic. We're holistic, and mind, body, spirit was something going on when Shirley MacLaine Out on the Limb came in, late 80s, and you know, it's been pretty strong 3 words that came together for all these years now. So we're talking 20, 30 years now.
You know, I'm glad that you pointed that out, because that helps our viewers once again.
Absolutely.
When you hear psychic, some people might say, ooh, whatever.
Right.
Again, whatever your preconceived notion is just to put that judgment aside, because
Absolutely.
if you really read the Bible and you really study all the different people in the Bible, you'll find a lot of these are very synonymous of what's going on. It's just different people call it different things, and there's so many tools out there to help us, to help you in your time of need, whether it be medical, spiritual, or emotional.
And some of the people there at our fair, some talk to the dead, some say they're psychics, some of us work with tools. But the point of the whole thing is, any one of us is going to tell you, the client that comes in or the person that needs help, the same story. And you hear this time and again. Oh, I had a reading 2 months ago and they said exactly what you're saying, and I have no idea who the reader was that they went to. And this is good confirmation and validation of what we're doing, that we're picking up the vibrations and frequencies. These are 2 words I've been using recently because, and we have that on our poster, the frequency waves, because this is kind of the only way you can show what's going on in the air. It's these waves are coming through and we're getting them. Spirit, when you leave the body, you're in the next dimension.
That's right.
And so the part of you that doesn't die is still alive.
That's right.
Everybody's got to know this. And this is who we're talking to, those of us that talk to spirit, right?
Absolutely,
Right,
absolutely.
Go ahead, pick right up on that one.
Well, I call myself a psychic medium. As a psychic, I tune into my clients intuitively to tell them a little bit about their life challenge, their soul's challenge as they come into this earth. There's a saying that as you're born, the angels speak all of the secrets into your ear, and then the moment you're born, we forget them. And our soul's challenge is to remember all the life lessons of the universe so that we can go back into spirit at the end of our lifetime whole again. So our earth life is very challenging, and as a psychic, I tune into you intuitively to help you with your life challenges, your soul's challenges. But then as a medium, I help you make contact with those on the other side, and that is a way of healing your grief and also proving the continuity of life after death.
Ah, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's really beautiful. And I was thinking about when you go back to frequency and vibration, that again, this might sound like something like woo, that kind of stuff, but if you study science, you know, I just went to the Science Museum with my granddaughter, and when it's amazing all the changes that they've made there. And you go in there and you learn the connectedness of everything.
Absolutely.
And what we don't see, just because we don't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Well, that's how TV works, right?
And radio
It's an
too.
Aquarian
Electricity.
thing.
It's all
The
energy.
waves go
Right,
through
all
the
energy.
air. It's all energy, as Theressa said.
Yes.
And it's coming to us. We're tuning in to those vibrations, which ordinary people are not doing. And that's something we do also with some of the classes and things that a lot of us do. We try to help people tune in to these things themselves.
And you know, a good example of it for people who are watching today is if you've ever walked into a room or you met someone or you just feel like, oh, you know, you don't like them right off the bat,
Yeah, the vibrations
or
are
you do
pouring
really
off of
like
them.
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
You could feel it. I have learned. I use a little prayer for my own self whenever I'm going anywhere. Actually, before I even leave the house, it's about protecting myself,
Prayer of
putting that
protection.
shield around. Yep, the prayer of protection,
Absolutely.
the unity prayer of protection.
Yes.
All the time. This way, then, what I don't see can't come.
Right.
And what you believe, here we go with the coach, bring the coach in too, is what our structure, our belief system really helps to create. Helps to, not alone. That's one of the...
What you think is who you are.
Exactly. We're projecting all the
Absolutely.
time. And I wonder, Brenda, my question to you is one of the things that, because I've been studying a lot about vibration and energy and all that stuff, is I recognized one of our big top guys out there is Tony Robbins.
Yes.
And I noticed that because he's been on YouTube a lot and some of the other network television shows and that, and he uses music and gets people up and moving because raising their vibrational before they can receive.
Dance
and I thought to myself, ooh, that might be a good thing to incorporate in group coaching and practicing.
Absolutely. Anything that can raise a person's vibration puts them instantly in a different mindset. It takes them out of where they were and takes them to basically a happy place, you know, a peaceful, more calm. And when they're there, they forget about this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I want to actually pick up a little bit on what Theressa had said, where as a psychic medium, when you're born and you hear, you know your whole life prior to being born. And a life coach actually helps you to learn why you're going through the challenges you're going through and accept them and, you know, and understand them.
And an astrologer will do the chart and see all your cycles
it's
until
all
you're gone,
connected.
and
So it's all
after you die, it
connected.
even continues.
Wow.
So your cycles are shown to you in various ways through the tools that each of us use.
Right.
I think all metaphysical subjects are connected. We each help you with a different stage of what you're going through in the hopes of just healing you and helping you one step further on your life path.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
and it
that's
is a
beautiful.
healing. It's not physical. It's your whole being.
It's
It's
an
your
internal,
soul's,
absolutely.
your soul's knowledge and awareness. And when you're not paying attention to your higher voice, your inner voice, who's inside of you, you're in trouble. And so we work with, you know, putting not just mind, body, spirit, but making them work together in total.
Oh, beautifully
It is
said.
A
Beautifully
balance.
said.
Yes.
Yes. And it's the truth too. And you know, if you think way back, that chiropractors weren't even accepted.
Absolutely.
Let alone massage
Right.
therapists.
Absolutely.
Right.
And now they're mainstream in our health.
And
We're
that gets
gonna
into
learn-
massage and Reiki and reflexology, where we're not just touching the body, but we're working with the intuitive,
The
the energies, and putting them all together. And you actually, when you're having it done, you feel that energy coming
Oh,
from the person.
absolutely.
The heat,
You do.
the vibration.
That's why it's important who
The
you go to
harmony.
as well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Who's
absolutely.
working on your body.
That's another point. I'm glad you brought that up. Everyone at our fair is reputable. They're either certified, accredited, or have degrees of some sort. Nobody comes in there, does a show that I do, who doesn't have that reputable reputation out there.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, it's
And
important to me.
It's very important.
Yes.
It's very, because anybody can hang a shingle and
Right.
call themselves anything they want.
Right.
And that's what we're always educating our viewers too on, you know, who are you working with and what kind of credentials do they bring to the table?
Right.
And that's really important no matter what you're looking at, spiritually, emotionally, or physically.
Absolutely. So this is what we're all about. We are here to help people. We've all needed help. We found people that did this before we came along and who are now out in spirit,
Yes.
who guided us. I used to just go places and listen to people and watch how they did readings, like medium types, you know, and I learned a lot just from the attitude they had, the way they tuned in, all this
To
stuff.
really pay attention. And
Yeah,
watch.
years of just watching others. I think it's kind of like mentors.
Right.
One of my mentors was much older than me. She got me into, you're going to go with me. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. You're going to listen. You're going to watch what I say, how I do this. You're going to start dressing. You're going to have a vision. When people see you, they're going to know who you are from the outer part of you.
Oh,
And I
beautiful.
learned a lot from this lady. And she was also an Aquarian, by the way. Very, very far out
And we
person.
Aquarians are pretty good
Yeah,
people.
far out people. But you know, you really do. You learn a lot, even from your own mom, grandmother, neighbors. Sometimes it's your own child who says something.
Yes.
And we didn't get into past lives, but I just put a cartoon on my page the other day, and it said, "Well, yeah, but you did this when you were, and you wouldn't believe it." And this is a little boy is telling him when he was his age. But he had died and come back, and now he's a little boy, and he's making a reference to something that this old guy had done or said. It just blew my mind.
How cute.
And I got more likes on that
That's interesting
thing.
that you say cartoons, because I use cartoons all the time too. I say when I go into even corporations or organizations, I said I don't come in with a PowerPoint, I come in with some cartoons.
Absolutely.
And my favorite one you might have seen they were also at the Holistic Health Expo, was the one, my favorite one is, if you take nothing else out of this is a great one. And it's where the doctor is standing over the patient in the hospital, and he's looking at him, he says, "We finally figured out what's wrong with you. You're allergic to your own negative thinking."
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
That is so
so
amazing.
And that's something I think that shocks people when they find out that they actually are very negative thinkers.
Yes.
And you've got to bring yourself
we
up.
all are.
We
It's
are.
a human
we
being
fall
race.
back into it as soon as we leave. We go out the door. We don't like something that happened. Right back there. So you have to keep yourself
Absolutely.
on this level. And working with people, we make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
None of us are perfect.
None of us are perfect, but we also listen to spirit a lot, and some of these might be our spirit guides, which we didn't get into. People who lived, ancient times, maybe didn't want to come back in a body, or our guardian angels who have never been in a body. So we have all kinds of beings out there
To help.
who come in and give us information through vibrations. Sometimes they talk to me, very clairaudient. Sometimes you just feel them. That's clairsentience, and clairvoyance is when you see. And these are terms that are familiar to people,
Right.
but do they know what they really mean? And then there's a word for smelling. Do you smell sometimes perfumes? Or,
Clairolfescence,
I knew
yes.
she was going to know.
And so, Theressa, what are some of those? What out of that are some of the ones that you use?
Actually, I use clairvoyance and clairaudience and clairsentience almost equally. When I see
Say which
something.
each one is, because remember you're talking to me.
Okay.
And I'm all of you.
Clairvoyance is when